gorgeous night at Don Lee Field for today's third region versus fourth region matchup between the Grayson County Cougars and the Dragons of Warren Central. And a good evening here and welcome to Don Lee Field. The sun is beginning to set, but the temperature is absolutely perfect with a slight breeze here at perfect Don Lee Field. Sam Gormley and Cougar baseball legend Chase Blaine with you here on the call this evening for Grayson County and Warren Central. Warren Central a little late arriving, so we're getting started a little bit late, and because of that, we're going to have to do a very abridged pregame show, and it's mostly going to be Chase, the starting lineups for both of these teams as we'll bring you. First for Warren Central, Austin Carr, Jacob Bielmere, Stephen Hyde, Tyrese LaRue, Rufus Sanders, Kevon Wells, Caleb Lindsay, Cavante Ernest, and Braylon Whitney. And the starting lineup for Grayson County, Jaron Van Meter, Camden Brothers, Landon Sherella, Eli Watson, Levi Rogers, Landon Haycraft, Sawyer Drake, Andrew Butler, Chase Bonnock, and Gage Napier will be your designated player out there in the field at shortstop today for Grayson County. He'll be hit for by Andrew Butler. Camden Brothers getting the start for the Cougs today. Grayson County looking to snap that losing streak as they enter this game. The Cougs have not won since the end of March, back on March the 30th. They have lost 4 straight games, and Chase, you're going up against a Warren Central team that is also looking to snap a losing streak. They're looking for their first win of this season. We got both teams hungry for a dub. You already know that they both are coming into this game thinking we can get a win.
Absolutely. Anytime you play a team from Bowling Green, you know you're in for a dogfight. I know on the Cougar side that they really need a win, just looking for something to get the momentum going here for them. Haven't had a lot of that this season since the start. Looking tonight just to get a win, but most importantly, just to play Cougar baseball. Play clean, go out here, have a good night, and I think that will transition down the road as we play again tomorrow, but start district play next week.
Grayson County is going to turn to Camden Brothers as the starting pitcher in today's game. Brothers warming up right now on the mound, and his warm-up probably got a little bit off balance as well because he did as well. When pitchers like there's certain warm-ups in certain ways, and he didn't have to warm up in his typical way. But, Chase, when you see Camden Brothers, what do you see as a starting pitcher? You
see a pretty solid starting pitcher. He's had a good start to the year. Only pitched 8 innings, has 2 starts, has a 1.75 ERA coming at you with 7 strikeouts. Walks have been a little elevated for him, but look for him to bring those down tonight, have a good outing.
As Grayson County and Warren Central about ready to get underway, and to lead off for Warren Central in this game is going to be the catcher Austin Carr going up against Camden Brothers. The wind blowing in ever so slightly, and the first pitch is a swing and a miss, and that is how this game gets underway here this evening. As your official game time temperature is 79 degrees, 620 is the first pitch. The second one coming there from Brothers is low for ball number 2. Or for ball number 1, rather, to move the count here to 1 ball and 1 strike. Austin Carr, the catcher, the freshman, hitting .214 with a run batted in. Pitch coming from Brothers. Called strike right down Broadway from your home plate umpire, Daniel Morris. He's going to be calling the balls and strikes. And first base coach is the head coach, Logan Bell. He's going to trot his way out to the first base coach's box. That's fouled off behind the plate. And we'll do the 1-2 coming one more time. Warren Central, it's been a rough start to the year for the Dragons. They're 0-9, looking to pick up their first win. But Chase, as we touched on, they're coming in and they're seeing Grayson County record of 3-8. They're probably saying that this is a game that they might have a shot at winning. The 1-2 is a swing and a miss. Brothers gets the strikeout, and that's the first batter out. And it'll be Jacob Bielmere, the starting pitcher for Warren Central, that will get the opportunity to hit. Bielmere on the season hitting .267 with 3 runs batted in and a triple for the Dragons. Brothers has the height on the mound. Stands about 6'5" out on that mound. And there's going to be a slow ground ball to the second baseman, Rogers. He'll throw on to first, and that's the second out of the inning. The Grayson County infield switching it up. Eli Watson going back to third base, which he's played a lot of throughout his Grayson County career. Gage Napier getting the start at shortstop. Levi Rogers moving to second. Sawyer Drake at first. Moving around that lineup a little bit to try and fix some of the defensive issues that have hindered the Cougars at times this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think defense has been probably our number 1 fall this year. Moving some around.
As the defense has been an issue for Grayson, and they're going to have to try and find a way to fix it and become more consistent. As Stephen Hyde is the batter now for Warren Central. He's hitting .333 on the season with a run batted in and a double. He's one of the better bats for this team and one of the lone seniors on the Dragons. Pitch coming, he fouls it off right side, out of play. Brothers tried to do some mound work out there. Obviously his landing spot, he's got a long stride. He didn't like something. He was moving around the dirt out there. The 0-2 coming from Brothers. Swing and a miss, he gets out of it. And it goes 1-2-3, go the Dragons. We're through the middle of one. It's Warren Central 0, and the Cougs are coming up. This is Grayson County Cougar baseball on K105. Grayson County and Warren Central here in the bottom of the first inning. The Grayson County starting lineup. It'll be Van Meter in center, Brothers pitching, Sharella in right. The cleanup hitter will be Watson, Rogers, and then Haycraft. And then the latter third of Drake, Butler, and Bonnock. The starting pitcher for Warren Central, Jacob Bielmir. Bielmir on the year, 5 games, 4 starts, 12 strikeouts, and 11 walks. He's been their main pitcher that they've gone to at times this year. Behind the plate is the freshman Austin Carr. It was interesting seeing Austin Carr. We'll talk about this as the game goes along. One of the first things that him and his head coach Logan Bell did right when they got to the game, as we'll talk about that as the game goes along here, is I found it interesting and just being able to hear that conversation between a head coach who is a former catcher and his young catcher. Leadoff hitter is Jaron Van Meter for the Cougs. .367 average, 7 runs batted in, and a homer and a triple. And the first pitch coming here from Bielmir is outside for ball 1. Van Meter leads the team in walks. He has 12 walks, which is more than double of the next highest player on the team. But the stat that stands out the most about Jaron Van Meter is he has a homer and a triple, no doubles. No doubles on this young year as Grayson County and Warren Central knotted up at 0 here in the bottom of half of the first inning. He's fooled there and swings over top of that to make the count go to 1-1 strike.
Jaron's had a really good season. Up until, I think, last week, he only had 1 strikeout in the season, which from the leadoff spot, that's incredible. Been in a little bit of a slump. He's looking to break out of that tonight.
Bielmir delivers the pitch here. Inside. Nice job there by Carr. Clearly, there was some miscommunication on where that pitch was going to go. Carr was set up outside. That pitch ended up coming inside. Carr was able to dive out in front of it and make sure that didn't go to the backstop. Not that it matters with no one on base, but still, for a young catcher, you want to see to act that way no matter if there's runners on base or not. Pitch inside. The count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike.
Biggest part for the Cougar bats is they haven't been terrible this year. Probably too many strikeouts more than they'd like. But the Cougar bats have been pretty solid this year thus far.
The 3-1 coming here from Beelmere. The slow wind and the pitch is a swing over top of that, and it rolls right through the legs of the catcher Carr, and that one rolls all the way to the backstop. Camden Brothers going to trot over and go to pick that up. The count goes full here, 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Warren Central pitching staff has struggled at times with walks. And if you're Grayson, that's something that you need to keep in the back of your mind. But Chase, you don't want to go to the plate thinking that they're going to walk you, because that's when you can open up the opportunity for a strikeout. The 3-2 pitch is high for ball 4, and Jaron Van Meter works his team-high 13th walk of the season. Camden Brothers, the starting pitcher for Grayson, will now toe into the box. 368 average, 3 doubles, a triple, and 7 RBIs. Big opportunity here early for Brothers to try and help himself out as a starting pitcher. You got to imagine that Jody Nutt will probably be aggressive on the base paths and starting one of his faster players in Jaron Van Meter. And right on cue, Van Meter is off. It's inside, bounces off the glove of the catcher. Van Meter's digging for 3. He takes the hard turn, and he's going to have that one easily. That'll be a steal and a pass ball on the ball. And Grayson County is a runner 90 feet away with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning.
Right, I think you touched on it there about being aggressive on the base path. That's something that we really haven't done much of this year, and I think we'll look to continue that as the season goes on. I think that's really key to our success.
Here's a cold strike at the knees to Camden Brothers, moving the count here to 1 ball and 1 strike. Grayson County Warren Central all tied up at 0 here in the bottom half of the first inning here from, what is an absolutely perfect night for baseball at Donley Field. You could not ask for it to be much better. Beelmere looks long in for the sign. Delivers the 1-1. Cold strike on the outside corner. It's one that Brothers probably wants to have back. It was a little bit low, but it's probably one that, it's close. It was 100% a strike.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 1-2. Beelmere, a slow worker out on the mound. No pitch clock here in high school baseball, though, yet. 1-2, Brothers pops it off right side. The first baseman Sanders backs up, but it's going to be called back by the second baseman LaRue. He makes the catch, and Van Meter's going to tag, and he's going to score, and Grayson County has the early 1-0 advantage. You don't always have a sacrifice fly to the second baseman, but when you have Jaron Van Meter, one of the speedier guys on the field, you get that opportunity.
Right, and you think back to Jaron, he was running on the first pitch, and the ball squeaked through the catcher, and he was able to round good heads-up base running, and he, by himself, is the big reason why that run scored.
Landon Chirella a hit, 289 average with a double, and a pair of triples along with 8 runs batted in. He swings and misses at the first pitch for the lefty. As Grayson County has the early 1-0 advantage, and the Grayson County Cougars, Chase, there's no other way to put it. They need a win, because coming up on Monday and Tuesday, you open up district play in the games that actually matter, and it's just good to have that taste of a win in your mouth before you go into those big games. Chirella swings over top of that one, and he's behind in the count here at 0 balls and 2 strikes.
Right, you need a win, but on top of that, you also just need to play good, clean baseball, and that's something that has eluded us all season. Not just making the routine plays, pop-ups, ground balls, having good at-bats. Those go a long way as well as a win.
Beelmere delivering the 0-2 to Landon Chirella. It's inside, and Chirella wears that one off the ribs, and he's going to take his first base with 1 down in the inning for Eli Watson. That one doesn't feel too good, but the pro is, Chase, most of the games that we've been here for this year, as we're going to have a mound visit out of the mound, most of the games we've been here this year have been cold and chilly. And not saying that wearing that at when it's 78 feels great, but it sure feels better than, I think, the first game that we were here when it was 33.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've had some unreasonably cold games this year.
Logan Bell out there talking to his young pitcher on the mound, and this is probably one of these conversations just to say, hey, it's 1-0. There's 1 down. Let's just take a deep breath. We're okay. We're good. There's nothing, there's no reason to panic. You're good.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And especially for a young pitcher, I'm trying to see.
He's a junior.
He's a junior, but still, younger pitcher. Probably didn't have that much innings. Didn't get to play very much last year. This is just getting back in the rhythm. About halfway through the season, just finding your groove here for the run down the stretch.
Especially with the cleanup hitter Eli Watson up. He's hitting 235 on the year, a double, a dinger, and 10 runs batted in. Bielmir, before he even towed the rubber, he looked at Landon Chiarella and kind of stared him down, and he's still looking back over that left shoulder. First pitch to Watson is low. It gets by the catcher, and Chiarella's easily going to take second. He takes a hard turn, almost daring the throw to come. And the pitch low on the pass ball is going to advance the runner.
Part of the conversation, too, could have been just don't get too fancy with anything. You have a runner on first, but it's a 1-0 game. You have one out. Focus on getting a ground ball here, and heck, you may be out of the inning.
Chiarella takes a large lead. Nobody's attempting to hold him on at second, so Chiarella's taking advantage of it fully. It bounces away from the catcher, and Chiarella's easily going to take third.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Nobody holding him on second. He had a really big lead to get to third, so anything in the dirt was almost a guaranteed base.
I mean, that's probably the biggest lead Landon Chiarella has taken in his life of baseball. The 2-0 coming to Watson is a ground ball right back to the pitcher, Bielmir. It hits him in the knee, and he goes down in a heap. And that's not what you want to see for Jacob Bielmir. And hopefully he's okay. That came back and hit him right on the leg, and he is in some kind of pain down on the mound. So with that, we're going to step aside and take a quick break. With one down here in the bottom of the first inning, Grayson County has a 2-0 lead. This is Cougar Baseball on K1. We do have a new pitcher in the game now for Warren Central as the starting pitcher, Jacob Bielmir, was helped off the field with an injury, and he's now in the dugout. It appears the new starting pitcher is Samon Jones. It's his second appearance of the season. He's only thrown 16 pitches coming into this game. Is the freshman. Grayson County leads this game 2-0. Eli Watson will be the runner on first base. And looking at the replay, what it appears that had happened is that ball was, it was ripped by Eli Watson. It came and hit Bielmir on the inside of the knee. And Chase, don't feel good.
No.
And as a pitcher, too, more than any other position on the field, maybe other than catcher, you got to put pressure on that knee when you land, and if you can't put pressure on the knee, you're not going to be able to pitch. It doesn't matter which knee, you need both of them.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Getting hit with a comebacker doesn't feel good no matter where you get hit at, there's no good way to take it.
So again, the new pitcher is Jones out there on the mound, and it'll be Levi Rogers to hit for Grayson County. Rogers on the season, 270 average, 2 doubles, and 8 ribbies. Off and running, Rogers pops it straight up. Watson's going to have to dig back, and it is going to be a foul ball bouncing right behind some Grayson County fans, and it's going to roll all the way back. I thought that one was a danger zone there, Chase. I thought that one was going to stay in play.
Yeah, the ball always comes back, especially from a left-handed hitter. The ball's going to be spiraling back that way to come back in.
Watson was off and running. Let's see if they'll test him again. He's not even being held over. He's off and running, and it's thrown behind the pitcher. Watson's going to take second. He thought about taking third, but he is going to decide to stay right there. So now the question is, I guess we classify that still as a steal since he was off and running.
You're way too generous with your scoring.
He was halfway there when the ball was thrown. So, it's tough. They are going to hold Watson on. He's off and digging for third now. The pitch is high, bounces off of the glove of Carr, and Watson will have third.
You have to give Jones credit here in this situation. He didn't think, especially in the first inning, he was going to have to come in and pitch this game. Didn't have a lot of time to warm up. Tough spot to come in for any pitcher.
The 2-1. And that is ripped by Rogers into right field, and it is going to be caught by the right fielder, Whitney. Off and tagging is Watson. Grayson County leads 3-0. Whitney didn't necessarily take the easiest path to that ball, but he ran it down. And like I always say, Chase, it doesn't matter what path you take it as long as you catch it. And he caught it.
No, an out's an out. Some outs are a lot prettier than others.
In a lot of ways, I'm not sure how much there's such a thing as an ugly out.
You don't.
It's like an ugly win. There's no such thing. An ugly win's better than a pretty loss.
There's nothing worse than a backpedaling fly ball.
Base hit there by Landon Haycraft. First pitch swinging into left field, and Grayson County right on cue again puts another runner on first base. They've done this multiple times now where a run scores, another one pops on first. It's 3-0, and we are going to have a runner out there for Haycraft since he is the catcher. It will be the courtesy runner, Hunter Felty. Felty with above-average speed out there at first, and got to imagine that they're going to be running him as Sawyer Drake steps into the box. Drake hitting 217 with a double and a run batted in. He ripped a double against Franklin County last week into the left center field gap, and Drake's going to wear that one on his left shoulder.
Yeah, going back to Landon Haycraft with the hit, his first at bat, it's been away for a couple of games. It's good to see him back. Good to see him back in the lineup. He's a big piece of this Cougars, especially on the defensive side as the catcher. Not having your catcher is never a good thing. He's held that position down well this year, converting from middle infield.
Andrew Butler to hit for Grayson. Only 3 for 4 this year, but he's worked a lot of walks. He hasn't had many plate appearances, but when he does, he finds a way to get on base. There's a called strike on the inside corner. Both runners advance into scoring position.
Andrew, he started out the season in the lineup, getting another shot here. This is good. A good chance. He's been chomping at the bit, wanting another shot this year.
The 0-1 to Butler is a high chopper to the second baseman, LaRue. He bobbles it, he recovers, he throws, and the throw is wide. 2 runs are going to score. Sawyer Drake comes in, high stepping in, and Grayson County leads 5-0. They'll go E4, 2-run score on the play. And Chase Balnock will now hit. Balnock 1 for 4 with an RBI, but He had that RBI last week in the tournament at Breckenridge County, and it was a big one, too, that the Cougs looked like they were attempting to come back, and that one goes over top of the head of Chase Bonnock. Andrew Butler takes second on the play, and we can usually say, over the top of the head. That might be, a drastic thing, but Chase is not necessarily the tallest player on the field tonight.
No, he wears number 4. That's about his height, 4 foot.
Off and running again. The ball is up. Bonnock checks. He does. Does he swing? He does. It was a called strike on the swing and the miss by the home plate umpire, Daniel Morris. And taking third base was Andrew Butler.
Bonnock, like you said, came in the starting lineup last season. I know the coaching staff's pretty high on him. He looked good last week in his cup of coffee. Getting another shot this week.
The 1-1. Ball bounces in. Coming home is Butler. He's going to score on the wild pitch. And Grayson County leads 6-0 against Warren Central. Now the bases are empty for the young Cougar hitter in Chase Bonnock. Bonnock also on the basketball team, and he was one of those players that Travis Johnston, the head coach, brought up late in the season because of what he did in JV. And Travis Johnston is known for that. He will bring players up to varsity that weren't on the varsity team to start the year, but if they play really well in JV, he doesn't shy away from bringing somebody up. And Chase Bonnock did that, as did Brody Armstrong for the Cougars this year in the basketball season. Called strike on the inside corner from Jones to Bonnock, and we can't go without mentioning basketball. If we're talking high school basketball, you got to start the sentence with Warren Central, who won the state title, lost one game all year. An unbelievable team with one of the best coaches in all of high school basketball. That one's over the head of Bonnock. He's going to get first on the walk. And it'll go back to the top of the order now in Jaron Van Meter. Van Meter, he worked a walk in his first inning of hitting as Grayson County leads 6-0 here against Warren Central. Long look in here from Jones to Van Meter. The wind of the pitch off and running is Bonnock. It's over top of the head of Van Meter, and Bonnock will get second.
It's kind of an interesting look that Warren Central has here. The third baseman and shortstop look to be playing up, but the second baseman and the first baseman, they moved up a little bit. They were almost in the outfield grass.
Aggressive lead by Bonnock. He's off and running, and he's going to get third. The ball bounces away from the catcher. Bonnock thought about hitting on the brakes, or turning on the gas, rather, as he hit around third. But he stops there. I touched on it as the game was beginning, but when Warren Central got here, head coach Logan Bell brought out his young catcher, Carr, and that pitch is a called strike at the knees to Van Meter. As what he did, though, is he took him to home plate, and they walked the steps to the backstop. And they counted them, and they got to it, and I think it was 14 was what the number was. And he said, so you know that you have 14 steps before you hit the backstop. And that's ripped by Van Meter, foul down the first base line. But I liked that, and I'm sure that coaches do that often and everything, but it was good that Logan Bell is a former catcher for Warren Central, so he clearly knows what it takes and the things you need to know. And that 14 steps, Grayson County here at Donley Field, it's a bigger backstop than some other places.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing about baseball. Every field's different. It's the only sport that's like that.
Break even coming to Van Meter is inside. It just misses. And I'm a little surprised that one wasn't called a strike three, Chase.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, going back to the backstop, not as big as Brett County played out last week, but still rather big backstop.
The 3-2 pitch coming to Van Meter is a fly ball hit back into right field. Whitney backpedals, and he will make the catch for the final out of the inning. Grayson County, though, scores 6, and we're through 1. It is 6-0. Cougs on top. This is Cougar Baseball on It's the top of the second inning. We had Grayson County on top of Warren Central 6-0. Camden Brothers in for another inning of work. Sam Gormley and Chase Blaine with you here on the call. And Chase, it's tough here for Camden as it's been about 23 minutes since the last time he pitched. That's so long, and that's tough for a pitcher. He's lucky that he got out there and got to hit at least once and run the base. Well, actually, no, he didn't run the bases because he got out. But it's got to be tough. You know, you're sitting there, you're trying to stay loose, but see how he reacts to this.
Right, yeah, absolutely. A lot of time sitting, but you're moving around through the dugout. He's got plenty of run support. Scored six in the bottom of the first. Not as much as the Twins just put on the Yankees, 9-0. But he's got plenty of run support. He should be fine.
Tyrese LaRue will lead off for Warren Central. He does not have any plate appearances on the young year. And the first pitch coming to LaRue is a called strike on the inside corner there from Camden Brothers. I do have to mention, Chase, Warren Central Jersey game A+. And as you can see watching with us, they got the American flag theme as there is a swing and a miss, the pitch low. So they have the stars and stripes on, or the stars rather, on the right sleeve and the stripes on the left sleeve. I'm a fan. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes him out on 3 pitches. And it'll be Rufus Sanders now to hit. He's 0 for 5 on the season, the senior. Sanders, big guy out there in the box right now as they have him listed on the roster at 6'3", 245, and he's every bit of that. He's a big dude. Swing and a miss and a pitch outside. He's one of these guys just looking at him. If he makes contact, it's going to go. He's a big, strong guy. And Brothers goes right after him there, and the count's no balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, just look at the bat. I mean, he's so swollen. I mean, the bat looks like a toothpick whenever he's swinging it. I mean, he's a big kid. I like that in a baseball player.
The 0-2. He's down on strikes. And Camden Brothers has thrown 6 pitches, all 6 for a strike. And it'll now be Keavon Wells to hit. Wells on the year, looking for his first hit of the season. He has walked 4 times, though, so he's still finding his way on base. And, Chase, I know we are both of the Moneyball mindset that a single and a walk are the same thing in the long run.
Indeed, they are. They are. Getting on first, it don't matter how you do it. There's, 6 ways, 7 ways?
There are plenty of ways to do it. As the 0-1 coming here from Brothers is a swing and a miss, and that's 8 pitches, 8 strikes. Camden Brothers.
If this is a strike, I hope there's somebody in the dugout that saves this ball.
Camden Brothers delivers the 0-2. Called strike, an immaculate inning called there for Camden Brothers. Warren Central down on strikes, and we head to the bottom of the 6th. It is 6-0 Cougs on top. This is Cougar Baseball on K105. Welcome back here to Grayson County High School, where the Cougars lead the Dragons 6-0. Camden Brothers, the Grayson County starting pitcher, just completed an immaculate inning, and right on cue, he will lead off the bottom of the second inning in his first at-bat. He had a sacrifice flying into shallow right field. The first pitch is outside for ball number 1. Chase, an immaculate inning. You don't see that every day, and it doesn't matter what level of baseball you're at. It's an impressive feat, and I'm sure Camden, if he hasn't realized it yet after the game, I'm sure he'll really appreciate it. He's somebody that it'll mean something to. The 1-0. He extends on that one and fouls it off right side, move the count here to 1-1.
You know, immaculate innings, they're extremely rare. In major leagues, I think I saw there's been, 200-something no-hitters. There's only been 60-something immaculate innings. That says a lot.
For those that are unaware, an immaculate inning is when you get through an inning with 9 pitches thrown, all of them for strikes, and all of the at-bats ending in a strikeout. As that pitch was thrown outside, and it goes here to 2 balls and 1 strike. Grayson County leads Warren Central in this game 6-0. It's something that does not happen very often. It's the first one I've ever seen in person. Obviously, the ones I threw in the backyard against my little brother, which happened all the time. Outside, and the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. I'd pepper it in there. Except no, I probably can't say that because I'd have to make him wear at least 1 into the back.
Just 1 high. Yeah.
You got to go high and tight when you're pitching against the little brother. Here comes the 3-1 to Camden Brothers.
I've never done it, Sam.
I know you're the only child. The 3-1. Outside, Brothers works a leadoff walk, and it'll be Landon Shirella now to hit for the Cougars. He wore 1 on the ribs in his last at bat after he fell behind, and we're going to have a timeout called by the head coach, Logan Bell, as the wind is really picked up here at Donley Field. Logan Bell, an interesting story for him. He's the Warren Central class of 2016. He was a catcher. He started playing college baseball at Williams Baptist College. He was hired in November to be the head coach of this team. And I know when he announced it, when I was reading his announcement that he did on his social media page, he said, you know that we're going to maybe struggle through the first couple of years, but we're going to get a lot better. And his reason was, I like to practice. And I like that. And as a coach, that's what you want to hear, because for a team that's young in Warren Central, you look up and down this roster, a lot of underclassmen, practicing is just going to make this team a lot better. And you can tell that Logan Bell, being a Warren Central guy, he wants this team to succeed more than anything, and you could just tell by looking at him, the way he's coaching them up in the dugout. He's made a couple of mound visits out there as well. Pitch coming to Shirella is outside for ball 1, and Camden Brothers will take second.
That's one of the most important things, especially being a graduate. Just being invested in your team, having that legacy. Coach Nutt's done it. He's coached here for 13 years, I believe now. Coach Clark did it, being a graduate, invested in the team.
Off and running is Brothers. Shirella pops it straight up in the infield. Brothers has to run all the way back, and it's going to drop in the infield. The shortstop, Lindsey, looked up into the sun and lost it. And there will be runners on first and second now with nobody out. That's where that sun can really come into impact. And Brothers, that's the worst side, is he was standing at third when the ball was hit. He had to run all the way back. And because of it, he has to stay at second. Eli Watson, he's 1 for 1, singled. There's a cold strike for him. He's the one that he singled after ripping one off of the pitcher, Bielmir. Bielmir ended up having to leave with an injury, but a good sign. Bielmir is up and walking around in the dugout right now. Hopefully that means that he is okay. Runners both advance on that play. That one goes behind the back of Watson. And Brothers is easily going to score to make it 7-0 Grayson County. Landon Shirella will also move to third base. And move the count here to 1-1 to Eli Watson. Pitch coming, Watson down the third base line. It's going to go into the corner and easily going to score Shirella. Hard turn for Watson around. He's going to go into second. The ball's still rolling. It's still alive into the right field corner. Watson takes a turn around third. He's digging for home as the ball's loose. Runner comes home. Eli Watson scores. And Watson scores and a hit down that third base line. Grayson County leads 9-0. I guess it's how are we scoring it, Chase?
I think that's I didn't see no errors. The throw in, I don't think you can consider it. I think that's a legit home run.
An inside the park home run for Eli Watson.
That's not even a Little League home run. I didn't see any errors on it. I mean, the ball was just hit hard, and the left fielder was playing up a little bit.
I don't know that I've ever seen one of those either. Pitch coming inside, and it did not hit Rogers. I thought it did, but it didn't. And this is not a shot at Eli by any means, but if I'd have told you, Chase, to take the betting odds at who would be the Cougar to have the inside the park home run, I'm guessing Eli would not have been your first pick.
Not be Eli Watson, no.
Probably would have been Cole Snyder as the manager. The 2-0 comes in. That one's behind Rogers, and the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes.
That was just I don't know what to say. That was impressive. That was a actual inside the park home run.
Last time we were here, the ball got stuck in the tarp, and that's what I thought happened there, but I think it actually rolled along the tarp, and the left fielder, Ernest, just wasn't able to find it because I think he thought that the ball did go in the tarp, but it didn't. It just rolled all the way down. That's a 4-pitch walk. Rogers reaches base, and Landon Haycraft will hit. Haycraft in his last at-bat saw 1 pitch, and he grounded it into left field for a base hit, and it looks like we are going to have a new pitcher out there for Warren Central, and it is going to be Tyrese LaRue, it appears, as Logan Bell is going to come out and talk to LaRue. So what we'll do is we'll step aside and take a break. Grayson County leads Warren Central 9-0. This is Cougar Baseball. Grayson County leads 9-0 against Warren Central. The new pitcher is Tyrese LaRue, as there's a runner, Levi Rogers, on first base, and the hitter is Landon Haycraft, and the first pitch to Haycraft is outside for ball 1. Rogers takes second on defensive indifference down there for Grayson County. LaRue, first pitching appearance on the season, and that pitch is outside, gets by the catcher Carr, and digging for third and getting there is Levi Rogers. Sam Gormley and Chase Blaine with you here on the call on a perfect night at Donley Field. Breeze has kind of picked up, died down as the game goes along. Pitch high, good grab there by the catcher Carr to hop out of his stance to grab that, but it is a ball high and the count is 3 balls and no strikes. 9-0. Grayson County has the advantage here in this bottom half of the second inning. Still nobody out. The ball is behind Haycraft, goes to the backstop, and scoring from third base is Levi Rogers, and the Cougs lead 10-0. Sawyer Drake will now get the opportunity to hit. He was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. As Warren Central's starting pitcher today, Jacob Bielmir, was throwing the ball pretty decent in that first inning and then had the line drive right back up the middle that he wore off the inside of his knee, and he left the game. Off and running on the play was the courtesy runner, Hunter Felty. He gets to second on the pitch low that goes to the backstop to Sawyer Drake. Felty did come in as a courtesy runner in the first inning as well in place of Landon Haycraft, who is the catcher. The 1-0 is high to Drake. Moving the count here to 2 balls and no strikes.
You know, there's no such thing as a wasted game. And yes, you may be winning 10-0, but this is a good chance to make some changes at the plate if you've been struggling. To go out and just have a good game, have an at-bat, find your rhythm as we get ready to head into district play. This is a good chance to do that.
And you play a good team tomorrow night against Meade County, who's a very tough region opponent. Pitch is high, 3-0, and the 3-0 is high for ball 4. And there's runners on first and second here with nobody out. Andrew Butler will hit for the Cougs. He reached on an error in his last at-bat, and right on cue, Andrew Butler. All he does is find ways to reach base. He doesn't have many plate appearances, but his on-base percentage is now about 900 this year. Called strike at the knees.
He's been hungry for some more opportunities. Got benched a little couple games into the season. This is a good chance for him to get back out there and prove he belongs in the lineup.
The 0-1 is a ground ball in the hole to the shortstop, Lindsey, and he has no play. That was probably a smart play there by Lindsey. It was in the hole. It was going to take a Derek Jeter, Barry Larkin-esque throw across the diamond to get Butler, and it was smart there just to eat it. You're not going to do it, and only bad things will happen.
Right, yeah, eat it. Don't make the situation any worse, giving up a run or two on the E.
Smart play there by the freshman. It'll be Chase Bonnock to hit. He walked in his first at-bat, and that pitch is low for ball number 1. Grayson County has lost 4 straight games entering today, including one on Tuesday against Breckenridge County, where it was a game that Cougars definitely just wanted to probably crumple up into a ball and forget it happened, especially defensively. Pitch was behind Bonnock, moving the count here to 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, defensively against Breck County, that definitely was a game to remember.
The 2-0. High, pops off the glove of Carr. The Cougars are going to stay where they are. Jody Nutt down there in the third base coach's box held up the stop sign to Felty and said, nope, you're going to just stay right here. So 3 balls and no strikes to Chase Bonnock. The pitch. Low, and Bonnock works a walk, and it's 11-0 Grayson County. Jaron Van Meter, the leadoff hitter, will hit. He flew out to right field, and he's walked in this game so far today. It'll also be interesting, Chase, you touched on it a few minutes ago, is if you're Grayson County, you also get the opportunity to get some guys on the bench that haven't played a lot. Throw them in this game. Give them the opportunity to get that varsity experience. The ball is wide. It's out. And it goes to the backstop, and all the runners will advance. Sawyer Drake comes in to score on the wild pitch, and it's 12-0 Grayson County.
Yeah, get some of the bench guys a chance. They've been here all season, been in the game. Give them a chance to see what they can do. Rest some of your starters.
1-0. Van Meter pops it off left side. The shortstop, Lindsey, goes back and does not make the catch. He runs into the left fielder, Ernest. It's going to drop. Scoring from third is Butler. And Grayson County leads 13-0. As that was one of those that it was a tough play for the shortstop, Lindsey, going back, and it was a long run for the left fielder, Ernest, to come in. And luckily, those are the plays, too, that you sometimes see those very nasty collisions, and luckily that did not happen there. And first pitch swing, Camden Brothers. It's a fly ball into straightaway center field, and it's going to bounce off the bottom of the wall. Brothers rounds first. He's going to go into second, standing up. Scoring from first base is Van Meter, or rather, Bonnock scores, and Grayson County leads 14-0. Van Meter stands at third. As Brothers wasted no time to double that one off the wall. And that's to a part of the ballpark, Chase, where balls go to die.
They go to die. Anything that hits our outfield right now, the ball, it doesn't bounce, it just sticks, it dies. Especially out in center field. It's a little bit rough out there.
Landon Chirella now to hit. He's 1-for-1 and a cold strike on the outside corner. Brothers is the runner at second. Van Meter at third. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. Outside the ball goes. No balls and 2 strikes. Or sorry, 1-1 as Tyrese LaRue, the starting pitcher, his 20th pitch of this inning, is ripped by Chirella into right field. It goes over the head of the right fielder, Whitney, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. Chirella digs for second. Whitney picks it up, bobbles it in right field. 2 runs are going to score. Grayson County leads 16-0 on the 2-run double by Landon Chirella.
It's a good hit by Landon. He's had several of those this year. Cougars have been really bad luck having loud outs. He's squared several up this year. They just always seem like they're right at an outfielder. I'm happy for him to be able to end up on second base.
Eli Watson now in to hit. He had an inside-the-park home run in his last at-bat, and he's also singled. And he pops that off on in the infield. It's in the middle. It's going to go towards the Cougar dugout, and it's going to bounce into the Cougar faithful off to our right, as it does end up going out of play. As I always love, Chase, the reaction from fans when the foul ball comes in the stands, especially at the high school level. It is always duck and cover. Outside, where you go to like a major league park, it's everybody fighting for the ball. In high school, it is, please don't hit me. Don't come near me. The 1-1 coming. It's ripped by Watson. Almost hits Jody Nutt in the head down that third base line. And luckily, Nutt was able to get out of the way of that one because Watson hit that one hard.
That's always the thing when you're standing at the end of the dugout like I do. You worry about those. Because the end of the dugout is close to home plate, and there's just brick. There's no net, no nothing protecting you.
Watson extends on that one, pops it off right side. The first baseman, Sanders, can't corral it in foul territory. And that's another one of those, Chase, where it's really tough for opposing teams. You don't know where that wall is, especially when you're playing those corner spots, is you don't know how close that wall, because like you touched on earlier, every ballpark is a little different. You have some places where it's like Oakland where you can drive a freight train through it. Watson turns on that one and fouls it off foul down the line. And then you have some places like Wrigley Field where there's barely any room at all.
Right, especially first base here. On the other side of the bag, you had the brick, so the ball bounces if anything gets by. But there's a sprinkler, and there's a hill, a lip that goes down like a hole almost. And plus, that's where they finish dragging, so the dirt can mound up.
The ball goes by the catcher Carr on the pitch low. Chirella, he's going to stay at second base as the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. 16-0. Grayson County leads Warren Central here in the bottom of the second inning.
Donnelly Field is probably one of the tougher ballparks to play in as a visiting player.
The 0-2 over top of the head of Watson, and the count will go full. LaRue, the long look in to Carr, the catcher. The pitch. Watson, pop up left side. The shortstop, Lindsey, corrals over and makes the catch right on the line. It was in fair territory, says the home plate umpire, Daniel Morris, for the first out of the inning here in the bottom of the second. Lineup will now be Levi Rogers. He's had a sacrifice fly and walked in his 2 at-bats today. Landon Chirella is the runner at second base. Grayson leads 16-0. Pitch coming. Cold strike on the outside corner. Shirella an aggressive lead down at second. LaRue delivers the pitch. Hard ground ball to the second baseman, Jones. He'll bobble, he'll recover, he'll throw, and it's a good snag by the first baseman, Sanders, on the high throw. He's able to grab it for the second out of the inning. Sanders, we talked about it early, has great size, about 6'3", and he needed all 6'3" to jump up and grab that one.
Yeah, we got a heavyweight matchup at first baseman tonight.
Shirella did advance to third on that play. First pitch swing is Haycraft, and he pops it off left side out of play. Yeah, between Sawyer Drake, who's probably about 6'2", 6'3" as well, you do have two left tackles going at one another.
Tackles, yeah.
I'm not sure if Sanders does play on their football team or not. Ground ball to second base, Jones again. It's bobbled, not able to recover. Haycraft reaches, Shirella scores. Grayson leads 17-0.
I believe that ball actually took a bad hop off the lip there between the grass and the dirt. It's not as even as anybody would like it to be, and I think it just took a bad hop, and that's what ate him up.
Felty does come in as a courtesy runner one more time for Haycraft. Sawyer Drake, as you mentioned earlier, is now hitting as the first pitch to him is outside for ball number 1. Drake 0 for 0. He's walked, and he's worn one on his shoulder here in his 2 plate appearances. 1-0. Just misses high to Drake.
Sawyer, of course, starting first baseman. The bat, I can tell a huge improvement last year for his bat. He's really started to swing it well this year.
Pitch there is a called strike, and off and running is Felty, and he'll have that on the pass ball. Called strike at the knees there to Drake. 2 balls, 1 strike. Jones, the second baseman, will go over to cover. That one's thrown to the backstop, and Felty will easily take third to make the count here to 3 balls and 1 strike.
I believe it might have been the Pirates actually had a pitcher. Zach Birdie used to do that in his warm-ups, throw the ball off the backstop to end his warm-up instead of bringing it down and going to second.
That's just because that's how usually Pittsburgh pitching is. The 3-1, Drake rips it in the hole to the shortstop, Lindsey. He recovers, he throws, not in time. Drake beats it out. Grayson leads 18-0. Sawyer Drake showing off the speed down the line.
He was hustling down that line. I mean, if I was a first baseman, I don't know if I would, in the words of Ray Taylor, I don't be on the tracks when the train's coming through. I mean, that's dangerous. He was moving down that first base line.
Brian Jones is probably going to ask him, the head football coach for Grayson County, where's that speed on the football field? Andrew Butler swings, grounds one to the pitcher LaRue. He bobbles, he throws, he's out. He can't beat it out, and that is the inning. We head to the third. Grayson County leads 18-0. This is Cougar Baseball on K1. 18-0, Grayson County leads Warren Central. We head to the top of the third inning. It'll be Caleb Lindsay in to pitch. And the first pitch from Brothers is outside for ball number 1 to Lindsay. Grayson County on top 18-0. If this result holds, this will be the final half inning of this game. Is 15 runs is the run limit through 3. And Cougs obviously would not need to hit unless Warren Central would score 4 runs. Called strike at the knees to Lindsay. Lindsay is the shortstop. Made a couple of nice plays, and I think the best thing about Lindsay out in the field is he's made some smart plays. Called strike at the knees there by Brothers. Chase, we touched on it. There was the hit in the hole where he just ate it. And that's a really smart play for a young shortstop because you're not always going to be able to throw everybody out. Swing and a miss. Down on strikes, and Haycraft, I think for just extra effort, put the tag on. That's the first out of this third inning. It'll be Cavante Ernest now to hit. Ernest is the left fielder today. As Ernest 0 for 2 on the year coming in. And the first pitch is outside, ball 1 there from Camden Brothers. In the last inning, Camden Brothers had an immaculate inning. 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 strikeouts. 1-0 goes right through the legs of Landon Haycraft because it was a little bit low. And how about Joe? Is that Jody Nutt down there? How about that speed? Did you see him busting out of the dugout to go grab that one?
He knows how to get a foul ball. Well, those things are about $20 a piece now, so you got to keep every one of them that you can.
Outside, and the count goes 3 balls and no strikes. Nutt, that was some good little speed that he showed breaking out of that dugout. Well, he knows he's not going to get it from his manager, so I know you'd have gotten out there if you were managing down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 3-0 is low, and that's the first base runner of the game for Warren Central. And it'll be Braylon Whitney now to hit for the Dragons. Whitney is the right fielder. 0 for 4 coming into the game. Has worked 4 walks, though. Or, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Whitney is 0 for 4 this season. As there was a Whitney and a Wardlow. Both started with the name B, and it's been a long day, and it's bound to make that mistake here looking down at the notes. Swing and a miss there, the first pitch, runner on first base.
This Warren Central team, they didn't get to play last year, but they look like they have some talent. In a couple years, I think they could be forced to reckon with if they can keep their program.
Yeah, they played about a half a season last year before being forced to shut it down. That one is a swing and a miss, pitch low, and advancing into scoring position is Ernest.
But yeah, that's always tough, having a half season, COVID year coming back off of the new coach, a couple new players. That's always tough to come back for, but all things considered, I've been impressed with what I've seen. They'll be good. I feel like they could be good in a couple years.
The 0-2 coming here to Braylon Whitney. Is a swing and a miss. He's down on strikes. We mentioned Logan Bell in his first season. When I was doing my prep work, as I know I mentioned it earlier, it's one of my favorite places to go to is as they're waiting for somebody to come up and hit, and it should be Austin Carr, the catcher. I guess they got to take his knee pads off. Yep. But one of the things that I always like to do is go to social media. It's a good way to look and try and figure out some facts about it. And I found one of the first things when I Googled it, Logan Bell's Twitter when he was in high school. And Chase, this one is just for you. His most recent retweet, which was from I think about 2015 when he was in high school. Pitches low, bounces off of the shin guards of Haycraft, and advancing is Ernest on the wild pitch. Counts 1 ball and no strikes. It was a tweet about NASCAR.
All right.
And who is his favorite NASCAR driver? At least I'm reading into this. I could be wrong. Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch. That's a solid pick. Solid pick.
Is it?
Having a comeback season of RCR, NASCAR's all-time touring series wins leader, having a comeback solid season, that's a solid pick.
This is from 2015, so that was in the heyday of the Kyle Busch era. But I felt like you didn't think, as there's a swing and the miss at the eyes, you didn't think Kyle Busch was going to get a mention during tonight's broadcast.
I did not.
And if you had that on your bingo card at home, congratulations. Chase will give you $5.
That was the year he won the championship, too, his first championship for Joe Gibbs.
The 1-1 swing and a miss there from Carr, and the Dragons are down to their final strike. As I see a update here involving Grayson County sports, the men's tennis team picked up a win against Meade County today. They're now 9-0. Lady Cougars lost a tough one. They're now 7-2. The 1-2 from Brothers. Swing and a miss, and that is the game. Grayson County picks up the win today against Warren Central by a final score of 18-0. The Cougs snap their losing streak behind Camden Brothers. We'll come back and wrap it up after this, as this is Cougar Baseball on Grayson County picks up the win against Warren Central today by a final score of 18-0. Your final line score for Warren Central, 0 runs on 0 hits and 2 errors. For Grayson County, 18 runs on 9 hits and no errors. Camden Brothers gets the win today. 3 innings pitch. He strikes out 8 of the 9 outs and walks 1. For Warren Central, Jacob Bielmir, he's the player that left with the injury. Hopefully he is okay, and I think I see him out there working that knee out in left field, so hopefully he is okay. That you hate to see that for any player, especially early on in the game. He's saddled with a loss. He pitched 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 3 hits, 3 earned. Simon Jones came in, was thrown into a difficult situation. He threw 2/3 of an inning, and Tyrese LaRue came in and threw 1 inning. For Grayson County, your statistics, RBI-wise, Eli Watson had 3. Lane and Sherrill and Camden Brothers each had 2. Jaron Van Meter, Chase Ballnock, Levi Rogers, Sawyer Drake each had 1 for Grayson. The Cougs will be back in action coming up on Friday, tomorrow. They'll make the trip up north to Brandenburg as they'll take on the Meade County Green Wave. I believe that's a 5 Central start time tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern time. If you're making the trip up to Brandenburg to cheer on the Cougs, that's what time that game will start. And then it's the big ones next week, as they got Whitesville Trinity coming up on Monday and Tuesday. We will not be back here with the Cougar baseball team until April the 24th. That is a week from Monday. Cougs will take on, is it Edmondson? Is that Edmondson County? I'm not sure if you've heard of them.
No.
Is there something, I mean, I've heard that there's maybe a little bit of bad blood between Grayson County, Edmondson County. I don't know. Maybe something. I don't know. Obviously, you'll want to be tuned into that one because it'll be a lot of fun. As far as other games to look forward to next week, we'll be with the Lady Cougars on Tuesday. They'll take on Butler County at 5:30. Big district game going on there. And then on Friday, we'll be back with the Lady Cougars as well, as they'll take on the Purples of Bowling Green. Obviously, if you're Warren Central, you're probably being all on the Lady Cougs that night. Because if I've learned anything, if we think Grayson County, Edmondson County is a good rivalry, Bowling Green, Warren Central's right up there too. That's another really good rivalry as well. And Chase, for the Cougs tonight, got the win, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, 2 things. Cougars, they look good tonight. Always good to get back in the winning column. A couple defensive changes were made. Didn't get a lot of chance to see them in action. Cam was really solid pitching. But this is a good game to make those changes, seeing how everybody looks. Going into next week, I think that'll be good for the program moving forward. And then on the other side, for Warren Central, I think building the program back up after last season, I think they have the talent here in a couple years that could really make a run in the region.
We wish Warren Central the best of luck as they go through the remainder of their season. For the Dragons, they will be back in action tomorrow. They'll host Metcalfe County before hosting Logan County on Saturday. Then they open up district play as well, taking on Greenwood. Greenwood's baseball coach, one of the good men in that area, Jason Jaggers. Chase, you don't know this about myself and Jason Jaggers, and I can guarantee probably Jason Jaggers doesn't remember this, but I was his statistician when he was the color analyst for Greenwood football back in 2017, and I'm sure Jason Jaggers does not remember me. But Jason, since I know you're listening, because obviously, good luck, but hopefully Warren Central can take you down, because I like this Dragon teams. You can tell Logan Bell's doing a good job, and I'm excited to see how this program can continue to grow over these next couple of seasons. That'll wrap up our coverage today on a quick evening here at Don Lee Field. Chase, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm sure we'll run into you down the road.
Absolutely. Always thankful for the opportunity.
So until Tuesday, when we'll be over across campus at the Lady Cougar Softball Complex on a night where the Cougs pick up an 18-0 win in 3 innings against Warren Central. For your K105 Digital Productions crew of Alex Cook and Chase Blaine, and for the greatest scoreboard operator this side of the Mississippi River, Jason Chirella, this is Sam Gormley saying so long, everyone.